Madam halungil sil mora. Ada bukno sebe edel tmakar elal tutau ma tukuni trigel ngara. Ay krel belau mangar sel belau en tial ngoigel om saadam lato lo se tial programa dur dil mirelang len ngangi sel kemaldira buaya dire kemaldira blaima dura senator besis akitaya. Ya do dengalilo semlamo. Ewal term ra kongres ngangi trui ma ewarak. El ngara ada kongres senator se dire mal beto kay gel kuk el giltmok ra se la breder olbi include ra atogora dengi los pe asils gigida nganga electrical engineer los el mora olbi rulia la algire del se ul mungel to esen se edel sugum grulia solar system kama mala dengi rangot el rail ya la amsil ikas emel ngul tira katra mulo trura PPUC ngulo era
Engeu lemur tialure rak me de lui rak madangel ram namemo
enga interesting engal resisa de adrigal terul lo que agar gider ela mak mosos modindi akmeldi la morgira klubu con tu bada ra morgra ngra 8 mora iglesia católica secretaria engal sen mor olbi lulao sing mom uywa sel urungul sel resolution ma sel proclamation na president ma mori angel ad luguk mo ngadu luguk kirela o da sel ma tetelak langarngi langar 8 o'clock mo at 3 o'clock mo ko e abadengela morabli ramoko mang moringa akamaldir se ma du em ko en momadak ra sel olgul katolik ngabital get Intila yang tahu ulam mengotak tiap kita mau isi. Kita direkal untuk setiap program kita kuk kita otang sel. Direkal kita kalau ada tiap lain kalau mereka kita ngerti yang luasnya. Girel kuk murah kembali direl tu tahu. Helal bila muri match. Engkau kita lo aisang kita aku dengai. Lo setiap kita ambil aisang kita engkau bila muri match Te gidra bol bi el got di high school mo mereka mo bi le mo urora iglesia mil mo trela.
Vai se.
Tanar mo la iglesia ra a protestante mo liwe krela ma mora rol amma aquama a saibal.
Vai se.
Nguk ngileak luror omrul direk mo masar mo drengira ala sel seguidel sel dedication engel morimat sa kutungling ada asar nging tigel adra uror.
Vai se.
El atala dia mo inglés adoy getara ko tum sisi el ad blagisa rakke kere ko mesringi sel longi dra karang esa ma longi dra egel dro muka bla alu sel diki drise mam sisi abdangela
malor ga dia sengra dengil 120 indian mukus
vai se gitu kuk maldil mo kuk tido oldaka ay kuk Udesuall maglu ed mora tigel kuk ngal matulungal kara ay lama amori matra el alsils.
Vai se.
Tomo mo urti al program rigi de meral ko dia ka tib de bataim garuba ka ngari al sumulak na osumur elal wa se bul spel ngarngi mung gdi mre del morgi. Dirgal el terul lo adal ngartianga o mes tire ta adang war. Belele em krip suba irir msegi de dingaringa isngir matetelilo otil wa se ngaringa teto bel belartir. Nganga mosang el nganga amalins es el claim rangbarda charity tiga debe tirgang lege la ahida morei ahida ado ngalilo sen ko to clordil tigel tedel lege la morei matokie en la mosmera en ko tirgal lege la ada merira Joel Miles notong lil kira ngar ede namro mo ada bela mali wong kitil amo tirgal amo to klia merira bela ding tirgal terul lo ada aurora ramrigel mo kromeng cycle elu rerir magil ko kosngir ragu klanga klada kidra bela temlertial me ngul le ko komesa adrir edirek ko tirganga mrula urol kan kesterra adirek mo rio rapluat ngai del mo sangal ngartianga sa to ulureor atia belau para ilura ka kuan la spesing mal makte katam el melu sen ka gidan ngara ma al kungurora kana dar el aldir ka melu sa to korak lo otak mo ngulal sa amalin sem ko mo asrigid wase kau ga ser oktober bela mletelar ki me oktober bela kam no amrigel milgran mel mutre langa
Multo ta rogo yak man masaw la wilte al ukmeye nga kan klara charity malin smiles akne graduate rami senti high school 1994 mnara skura Palau Community College el Tarrak gore mnora UH Hilo serak ngar skur saying los mera brother kamamra ngalela versa 1996 makmle olongul nga school may makngar belaw serak lutel mong and then Mlora skura Washington State al kmedra kuk atala tamak miles graduate there sig the time merbe laura 99 makulur tiang al mo 2004 mara ako tak mara Pla Red Cross for about 1 year and then aknora Pla High School ulur school counselor 2000 and 2004 ko den mutel mal maram di gele nga katerak ngarsay
ngalulur mo ri dam
sa ko tamam di kelak lutul ma school maknilwa masters in social work partner said you work so many hours and take a test to be licensed, to be a licensed social worker. First, akmla na mental health hospital for a few years, and then from there, akmla order emergency departmental overnight shift for many years. And then in the last year, akne Udesuall hospital dikti them move from ER to another department, cell department, akuryor ICU, support our families that are taking ICU patients.
Sabem lo ay sa kungral support a family sa low spe man gidiulo ng safety.
So lots of different supports that we do. For example, sa nga ER, a lot of times our patients may many times it's mental health reasons. So for example, sabela adal lo makadura 911 wase yakmal bigi karangkal taranga ka masada suicide. Matamong engul mera ER. And then at toktang manur sa mesa nga patient first, make sure medically clear, make sure there's no medical issues causing problems, and then kamamil social worker go next for the mental health evaluation, and from there kodoryo lumengela ang kal patient will decide say what's the next step. Sometimes it's voluntary mental health treatment. Ang kal patient tas say yes, I'm having serious problems, I need help. Ako ngel mora mental health unit mama maosi kung mga nga losi ka hospital nga niya available bed, send rang kal adal mong. Sometimes, let's say someone who's experiencing like psychosis, hearing voices, they're not in their right mind, might say, maldiak ka ngay, el mora hospital, maldiak ka tsakal malakara, il adyak ka tutalil. So I say, then, hindi ka tabigik ka ngil, wasal the releasing your hospital, mol matamala. Nga niya kuk ngod al adal kimong kodor ngil, designated crisis responder, nga gita nga niya, klisi under Washington state law, and may evaluate the wasial so kung danger to self or others are the release then nganya alam they have power under the law to send them to an involuntary mental health hospital.
Wow. Til akmal el mol tugoy mal problem rikit mahal testo til asis bringi karuwa ka dire kan balkora ang ari aklam ringi ma involvement til am sang angkal kira ang artiam mo sang kam ko ati dire mo smodaro la sese to bela kam nurgere ela magra
sulang ngin mang pwede may follow ang sister nga tilob dra Vicente 1998 yung mo na PCC 1 year Mortel School Evergreen State College nga Olympia Washington to say 2002 nga kamangel girlfriend nga sa time Amanda we moved here Maybe nga 3 months and we stayed here, maybe almost a year. Nga uriyo at Tebela, nga Amanda, ultis akla PCC. And then when we left, Amanda momla master's ringi Vancouver. Nga, Rila, Canada. British Columbia. So, ngila master's ringi nga kora di uriyo English tutor, uriyo obvious, just kind of temporary work. Di nga 2007, to get the website to Bleacher Report, let's start. And it was just kind of like a blog. As soon as someone called Malusa get a sport, you just sign up and Malusa, or you can sign up at the edit. So that's what I like. Yeah, so Malusa get a sport, but I also like editing. like cleaning up I got grammar mistakes mga. So that was just for free, just for fun. They said 2008 they started hire a rat. So then they asked me, I said, so so then I started working for them at 2008. Now until now, the Oriora Delbicha report.
Magandang nga nabli mo uror.
Oh,
Ila ka makarangil tilo asing maral sports o mulo sil kirin.
hindi, mali edit. So anda ko ang ngani tigal writers they'll submit their articles. And then before it was just articles, and then now it's like video, it's social media. Malbato I got a Bleacher report like yasum ngani ako graphic was someone nga statistics ringi. So they make a little card for Facebook or Instagram. And then the more editors will say, can you look at this and make sure naka errors ringi? So we check or fix it and then they put it out.
So you check like factual.
Oh, factual or grammatical, all kinds of things. Editorial content machine, nothing like offensive or strange.
Oh, you sure can use that. Media here.
Tila.
Wow.
Girim lam dasin me.
I see. Ela kam tila rin kime mo sa.
Hindi ka mafori.
Eka. Kumuro ba? Kumuro ba? Oh, I see. Ela ngariyan ng laki.
Oh, yung Lucero, Tangaluk. Na mother tina regil.
Tingaluk? Malo. Ikaw
ngalki ako ta klora dil odra yang klel al 19 argil mil eller belar sa 2003 yang kal ongeru nga saal ngale ala el 13 argil guk mil eller ata goma oy
dia ela kam na dulia ngak ngale elam ngel brother ka odama ngale le tiku ay sala sukum de kala ngel wasa tokiel ngam le ila morey ang gilaw erbalaw ngale Iya toke ko tel kikrel ngalkel rasil lungeru labi ringi ya wer belanga am de tra masif to kan ngalkel ul demokrat mngil oh emur ko ngasal de klingel masing bro al komro abilio mkel mo ira abilio emela atoke basically half brother at mngil
Kami amal ka uat kaum tirgal gester gidere la.
Oh ini kama oh isi mang segida mang kumes kami la ka segida roli un merbelaw mura dal mi to kie mo ko mura ngale ngel el ngira pilio I understand que me dire que pilio kum gel masa ko amlu ra do gel ko marka
I think so
na pilio kum pare roli mo mete kal asrem ko mo ko chivo sel kablil mo sa
Pero akmel kiel tergi benden musi.
La mela ngel wasa ngaria mal tretal ngarbe laud elan malbes etiagi omra el moram dikel el wai kami ding chem la do raigan merkol bui la mal masal mugringi ela ibna president waisel wasing sia to kotung wa kampak mer el ang ya estimate el adbe laum namura ambikela kadilo singara 1000 8,000 ela adem la namura ambikel ela sel do mesra statistics ela nga radang arbela nga 12,400 600 Palawans Tingarial ang arap 5,000 na ladang modal belum mo ang arap 17,000 ba 18,000 aradal kerbelar el alsis ado mesra voting registration na belaw it 16,000 na votes na belaw bulgula singari ang palbeto kol ada belaw el dibus belaw atara ko to kol ada belaw dibus belaw ar ada rablilio mar ada ngaw ila kung ngauri ada mo ablilio kung mesra ablu ngauri ngarat din over 100 tar at kirni yar ada kir outside kung ngara 600 700 wow 400 sama votes nga 462 yar el trigel voter kir ngaur el alsil sangara 100 dil over 100 bulgula singara 1/4 arada dia ka dil dilom nga ma kal belur bela sedoral mura bubble dam yang direct betul kablail empty mar nangom kasara mang tiagi del gal mergol le rul buil ya personally mtang trira adal ngara 40 aqua 50 adar bela amlat tuo
Oi.
o il tuo del mo tara kombali ambigel na mel recruiter ar as of today ngarga in the last few weeks 4 or 5 kombali ambigel na mel recruiter ar bela especially ar gas tanam rain ma of course trigal ko maral mo ambigel mo soldado interesting ngaringar ada medo am klunga masado tim keto mam lama mut mukla dang mrai ngaria bliri mangaligir na mosorir mobil moram ligir combination ra ngaria to ka ul to kora ke sa ul school soldado mang kami ang ngaram ligir la ngula da kliu mo langar segide di ko meser kami ko ko to belau el malungil mo la keep belar arang liu matel liu mang elati agi de la nga sing aikel luror elal moru umlak madu na ngaringi ate liu marul de suo se atrak lu se ko mu metel lu
That is my hope and my wish.
Especially said well mereka ang kangalagay ngara high school and then maybe we'll see ka milgarola Canada be a big change at some move may as ngara high school mga but after that and then maybe more open
Nihita dim kirse marangalagi kirse malu te telbulu erangal kama dire kal tobada malu te ablu di moblu ara Bangladesh mar ara ping mar ala China dia mela sel bora urore linse ka telurul moruringi kala madangla da ko sa madangla situation rigi tra igal merkol Iraq and even a president marmeder bela de kam lamo mesingil sel togora suicide bela it's worst bela sing 6 months in the 5 sila up to 2018 2019 ako din mula siya presidente ondi pero kumam ngoseng tangara 41 ara ladel mo ditilo mo quadra tirlen manok ton monday ikimno kaso ese kakrosen medal ma media ma ara do hospital ma aruba ma atmon muta presidente ikimno libel kind of public meeting where is this what's happening with this in Malo, I mean, global almost every month, social problem. Tile more mental, my emotional problem. Tile more social problem. Elasil kaul lang rambrigel o mes rambrigel. Kung dasong adi regel close suicide rambrigel. Adi regel kung mes rambrigel hindi regel malamo. Boida al sel ma langar tir ma wala tik sa tidre mal ela sel ko o singa meringira so ko magrar ela igel plum rule ra already ngabi ka briga blue brigel ngwangara o singa meratetela wa o sama clear mal magrar ela ba blue mal government blind complete how do we handle this problem
I don't know if I have an answer, it's complicated. Belau is different from, let's say, Ablurangabar. There will be similarities, but also a lot of differences. And first, I'm not an expert. So I just want to say that first, I'm not an expert. Social worker. And a big part of what I do is mental health assessments. My best tool is listening. Lots of times, right? From day to day, trying their best. Sometimes you don't even know. You don't realize. So some people you really don't know. So a lot of the training we get sometimes I was say, it's learning about lethal means. Lethal means meaning like having lots of medication or having a gun in the household. So learning and saying risk factors that are inside of the household, other showing signs of like depression. So that way you can try to limit access to those things. So for example, sometimes I'm suicidal, not today, but sometimes. So when you are suicidal, how do you keep yourself safe? There are lots of times I say, oh, high blood, I have it there. So when you have those feelings, how do you keep yourself safe and not take them? You know, they think of, we call them protective factors. They think sometimes it's religion, you know, their faith keeps them safe. Sometimes it's family. They look around their household and they look at their spouse or their children, so that keeps them safe. But one of the things we talk about is if there's a time, you have to plan ahead. If you know yourself that there's times where your depression is so deep, in that moment in time, you're at risk of maybe doing something. We need to make sure that, like, the gun is not in the house, or the bullets are separated from the gun, right? Or the medication is not there. Because that feeling at that point in time, it will pass. But if the things are right there, and that thought in your mind is like, I want to die today. So those are some of the things that we talk about, like how to keep yourself safe if you have a history of suicidal thoughts. But the factors that kind of go into it are complicated. Sometimes it's a job loss leading to shame and guilt. Sometimes it's struggle with substance abuse. Maybe it's meth addiction, heroin addiction, alcohol addiction, and they're trying to get clean. And so when they're clean and sober, they're on this path to recovery. A lot of times, the more remember, and they start to feel really guilty and ashamed and really depressed. So kasi it's complicated for each person. And
almost all the suicidal victims are men. Tim gero to sak mamas di kamlangan. Da mo orta girim sisi arngum ne kasal. Girim taloreta amring to may gang dam. Kita direk kita ada bela mal ko amrul mo molta de likik ni drasekan. Sila gil kora family kora kamal tida porto. Ngakamal di umundar ngakarada ta to den wal mel ko de lego like ale to kora sa suicide el reporter front page ito de ata mal mon mutrela to namot maga la kamlu to lo spera order suicide.
I see.
Mon mutra vice president ma spera order self harm. Le was sel mo spertil alto ko mo ula kapikyat mal ta mo gamang way gigidre algo factors elasel ko kago ngaramrigel ko sa ngaramrigel la dia kasigid ko tukol ginas arti guk ngaray gigidel molgol wasen que factors lead more suicide.
Like factors that lead up to it. Well, like I was saying, I guess it depends. A lot of times the patients that I meet with, if they're older, let's say my age, 45, and sometimes the factors are maybe an end of a marriage, right? But there were already risk factors before that happened. Maybe already feeling depressed and anxious, but not getting any help. Sometimes it's like the build-up of stressors. And when you get too high, and then they try. So sometimes for females, it's a different method than males. But again, like you said, people don't always want to ask for help in mental health because there's a lot of shame associated with it.
I guess that is.
Yeah. Why say? Because people look at you different. Like if I say to my coworkers, let's say they see me because and you know, I seem very competent, I do what I do. But if they hear from someone who will say, charity, milsangal gora, maldil mangale. Of course. Yes.
Universal.
You know, and it's, so in some ways we have to do, I guess, like a culture shift. You have to kind of make it open, that it's okay to talk about. That the only way we're going to change something is if we talk about it openly. Kasi I realize Abdur Belao, it's very difficult because it's,
Kaya
you know,
kikare
why say?
more closely with
And our pride is really important to us.
why say?
You know, even nga ka Roy than the other Belao Kiram Digele. First thing I always think about was saying nga other Belao, I'm representing my family, even though nga Roy. So I have to work a certain way, work hard. Dil mo, but just work really hard. So if anyone says, where are you from? Other Belao, they say, oh, because so I feel like that's part of who we are. So it's really
Why
hard.
say?
Ela ko rin lo binte suicidal. Ngalal buting ela suicidal bala oil mo ko tira.
Well, I mean, lots of times saying overdose rakar. You know, and sometimes for people, they take it and then they regret. Tamara to call 911. You know, so sometimes akme sa other nga ICU, you know, first they're really sick, so they're intubated, but once they're medically clears in mo and say, these are the things that I was really feeling upset about, and I was really upset, and it was impulsive. They didn't plan it. And I was really upset. And then after I swallow them, I say, oh no, what did I do? That's if you live close to a hospital. It's more dangerous if you're far away.
Yeah, boys.
There's that too. Yeah, and a lot of
Tukabos ang bigil din narap.
why say, and part of that too, will involve drinking alcohol. You know, so when I hospital, and I have to be careful, of course, in confidentiality laws hospital, but you know, and idim la kalmat. But later on, I will say for what I did, and so that's why we talk about, you know, if you feel like this sometimes, let's make sure those things that you can harm yourself with are not nearby, or talk to family so they know to reduce the risk, because a lot of times they can regret their decision.
Ela silko statistically, se mo misal di share adal quadrity. Tuatal ngal age group ato.
I mean, right now, I think Ilatal hospital nga rin so is ding arbitara children's hospital. So we have the adults and we have the children. And tikal gimdakal social worker loader children's hospital was mal pato are ngayasa and really have struggled with through the pandemic. Time already bleeding and became socially isolated. So there's a lot of young people attempting. Yeah. But that's mostly what I see. A lot of times it's young people. The older ones, it depends.
Like when you say young people, how old?
Late teens, early 20s. Yeah. But also, high risk category are older white males. And at risk because you just find them after they've passed away. Where tikal ngayas might say something or something you can see mo kasi mo sawir. Older person may not always say anything. And they just do it.
I see.
If let's say they've had a long illness, you know, someone in their 60s or 70s, older white male, long illness.
Percentage-wise, about real cook mogitsingay mo kitaptri commit suicide.
Like korag.
Mental. I
don't know an exact number. Because ang
ngani.
Ngora nga kakrusel social program le sibi referral adan morngi.
Retail?
Yes.
I mean, there's those hotline numbers. It's where other goal.
Mangani ako na counselors available na agigidal time sumkong nga emergency le ko ate ngani agidal services available sa bemlo makadong tiret na malatir malupe kom to help otherwise.
Ngani kakarosal services some might do outreach and morabila to help them stay home and help them in outpatient services like therapy and also outpatient services for medication to help with maybe depression or mental health. Others who are like very sick, right? Like you can have a person like medical, for example, medical. If you have diabetes and you're extremely ill, you end up in the hospital. They stabilize you, then you go home. Same with mental illness. If you're really sick, like have very serious depressive symptoms, suicidal, then you end up in a mental health hospital to stabilize before you can return home.
Kailangan rin 24 hours service or sa ML call na sukuma no masol kami ta suicide. Alam mo kitarong yas ilkolet takara line advice niyo sa mga.
Yeah, the crisis line, and so then the crisis therapist mga dadura other nga ring wa, but they also have to ask questions to assess risk. Let's go ma other say, I feel suicidal, hindi ka so kalmat, but still the mga dadur tira ding wa. Dito ko mo say I feel suicidal, so kalmat. Ak mlamay gal ko rugul medong okorbitar nga lagumda sa wasing so kalmarel all time. And then that triggers okay, ngira kal ko 911 kasi nga ding wala mong geka kung kadra 911 na ata ambulance ako ng organ mo hospital. It's not safe for you to be home in that situation. Oo.
Wow.
Yeah.
Sele kung tabertel regal social services nga kida adar bela. Balol ko lang niya ngal sang sela funding in morngi. Gukwa nga situation ng miram rikira gagir issues sa mental health ma rather uspiang eso.
I saying funding I think is always an issue, right? Because there's lots of social problems and they all need funding. Yeah, so it's trying to, like, for example, whether it's the state government or the city government, trying to decide that we have this much money, where is it going to go? Fire department, police department, the roads, schools, mental health. Why say?
Di allow I think is a mental health yung social under the city government, the state government, US federal government.
There's different programs. There's programs that say federal government might have programs or initiatives they want to push out, and that money might get funneled down to the state, and then the state might then funnel it down to the city. Yeah.
Tol state am la open raya medical marijuana ngalngia impact ringira aradal mo kitsingai maloleta so really tilam ko tira hospital marijuana ringi alam la mustat malwa ngalngi open day lam diga.
I don't know if I can speak to that because I don't know like I
digil ko mo digil ko oror kamilo tego ko ka ulmi nga di man lama marijuana mo.
I haven't really seen that. Most of the ones who are really kind of out of it, let's say, for example, using methamphetamines, because they might not sleep for 3 days. Masalame, they're like totally out of their mind. And sometimes they end up like sleeping for, for like 12 plus hours. If they're still making no sense, maybe it's mental illness. But if the magisa they're making sense, kasi ong atyalkar.
Di ka mueslo directly caused by use of marijuana.
Not so much. One of the things I've seen they said is that some of the things they sell in the stores, because it's regulated now, right? It's all regulated. Sometimes the strength can be a little strong, so sometimes people might feel a little sick or they might feel a little bit off because it's very strong, But like I said, I'm not an expert, so don't take what I'm saying, because I'm not an expert on that.
I
cannot say that. Yeah.
Okay. Now we go from suicide to sports, right? Tell me, recently I've decided to promote sports. Because in our profession in media, Palawan sports is just ignored. It's not ignored. It's not really organized, and there's no. Even schools now are just kind of beginning to organize. So, Mr. Salvador here, the last 2 weeks ago during the championship, he was requested to announce it in the air. It's like before. So nice. Because baseball is a national sport. During the 60s and the 70s and the 80s and the 90s, Palawans were known. Palawan was a powerhouse baseball in the whole Pacific, except Hawaii and Japan, but the rest of the Pacific. Now, 200 after 2000, it's just going down here because of first, lack of information, organization, funding, and emphasis. So, in your profession now, you are a sports writer. What kind of sports are you writing? In Brang, ngaray ke kol molu usir gire. el moratigal.
Tell ko malay nga kamarklo, tell which report mal, US or international mang tal klo sport, NFL, NBA, may kang. So that's like my work, I got popular sport.
Tela ka o kan mo ambrigel, for example, ambrigel nga rasel ko to clone, ko yakyu, football, basketball.
Well, football tal NFL still, I think part of it in the once a week. Magkadi once a week. Yakyu mal, 162 games in 6 months every day. It's hard to like Oklo mess a game every day 3 hours. In the NFL once a week 3 hours Oklo mess then you wait for the next week.
Yeah, basket.
Basket it's like maldi favarat and the camera can see them really easily and they're very athletic and mal exciting. Yakyu mal kind of like fall behind there because in little bit so raw and it's like
Nice.
So now they're trying to promote that personality Tagalog soul, their celebrations and everything like that. I got the moments, not the whole game. I got a specific moment, the home run, the out, those things are what they promote now.
Kung nalingkel mo ka belaw.
Ablay? By Madrid? Oh, yeah.
Ilang SBM ngartiang kami kawal mga masado wasi. Kumo mesa tigigit at belaw, especially elementary school, high school amrigel. Because I know, elementary school ngal belaw mall like city kita silver yakyu ma sports sa kami terkawal ko kasi kukruli sa gid sa ko dasa gid information na ikam nem ko to.
Oh, God bless Mother Cyril debut when he made his MLB debut. Okay, I'm just the editor. And then nganingel adal run BR walk-off. That's the baseball account of Bleacher Report. This is the debut of the first Palawan ever in a major leagues. So he's like, okay. So then he made a graphic. Bly Madres, first, Palawan ever in major leagues. So, already.
Okay.
May lagi mo mila article ikaw.
This article na has my personal. The Bleacher Report na malamoklo. Namo da spell di ko ramalu sa
Hindi ka edit.
Kadi mo kasi may abdo ray kam lasin mo internet fan out try locate at the law sing ngaria waya Hawaii tumla eladrak itingilo World Championship Rally League.
Right.
For the second time. Checo se kelen ngaria mo kita ngarai gitu mo. Ngaria ngarakwam mo mga Miguel mo keep your eyes and ears open, so if you ever hear, just send it to us.
Okay.
Kailangan mo follow apply. Kamu follow apply. Sabi mo. Lo mi sige story ni.
Tampang pay.
Oh, he won that AAA championship.
Yeah.
Next year, akong dasong mo start na major leagues.
Yeah, I think he was flown down to because I guess they acquired him from Pirates.
Yeah.
Pirates. Yeah. Okay. Hindi akong sige da kumia mal sulal terulu ate malt mer ma ang mamal ko me holding ko mo na kana ter at the meal was ito ang ara marlu meu era como ves lo hacen como se endi meu ating artian papel meu la dire el malungin ang gal tamam mal dire ka sisi das erungin mo datu endi tingke adro esa que gira yung clear wa ikan ma speaker mal mam dia di segi de mem pescawa de algo tipo do sesel mo aklom mal mo do swem mo simetial kukay para algo sa ngara observation or car mela mo tetel di bus ka to bela se komlo malabot malbo komlo malawa elak ngasih elak namem sang. So you came, you arrived. What did you see?
I think so. I mean, for me personally, my family here, everyone is here. Every time it reminds me myself of other bela. Because Canada, I'm going to normal other bela Canada. I feel like I'm the only one. And they say, man, I'm like, wow, it just reminds me again and again. It's like my other bela. And they, I know, like you're saying, observation, like, that pandemic, I'm remembering to go, like, everywhere. A lot of pressure, everyone's isolated. So I think in Belau or everywhere, we have to remember what say Temal medical time. Let's try to like recover from that. And it's okay. Let's say it was hard, so let's just try to recover from that, and things will get better. That's my thought.
Okay. So do you promise me that next time you come, you tell me before, so I can get you to work with some students on sports reporting?
Okay.
How to report?
Okay.
Okay. Kumsula mo sa kakaboy, Evelyn.
Tiang ko ting sa kaldi mere nga sa or talte al may malungi lan wol mer Belau. It's home. I've been gone a long time, but it's home, and a lot of the qualities I feel that make me who I am are Palawan. I learned here. Leda maka adaba para mama. I mean, other Miguel in the sense of same like elders say, yeah. But for me, ako saying kalpa para mama other Belau.
I see.
Like ngulum ko mama tiang even after our mom died, and it was very important for him and was to grow up with, I think, certain Palawan qualities. And I think the work that I do, let's just always be kind of compassionate towards one another, kind of hear each other out, try not to be judgmental, think about, instead of only thinking about ourselves, thinking about all of us together.
Okay, kami amal masaw lengaria at ako bela ulus pering ya minister a state kita no do la UN. And even dilil to bela expression na widi elo ase sel skum katwa drablim e como rara ele is ne kilometers rablai como modelo ase memra película especial sum como mal mamalwat malur kumuro malur mura rid masku se mal película ase como sablim magmamodelo ase kawata kamlar kelme mudanglia albulen mudanglia kel el ring el malur elitu tabli si emsel obong obong emlutel me como suba tokol mo de to ko malo mai kan el mutel mel moswira adara blima blima mo pil ay sa kami mo no lising ko morale como mesar gide mesar blima pil mesar blode emara mo blue amrikel makanana nata ko mal msula
Sula.